Well, good morning again, Redneck fans. This is Rusty. I wanted to do a little something this morning, show you some of the prop work, I guess, that I'm doing and how I do it. So let's head over to the Research and Development Lab, and we'll do some of that work over there, and I'll show you how I measure a prop. So let's go to the R&D lab. There it is right there. That's my chair. And this is my prop work stuff right here. So let's set the camera up and do a little R&D work right here in Redneck Central. All right, I'm set up here. So let's see what I've got on the leading edge. I'm probably, like I say, want to open it up a little bit more. We'll see when I get it on the prop gauge. I want to show you how I measure a prop and what I do. The first thing I do is I'll take tape and like I say, I want to go up and down the blade because I have found that it's easier to get it on and off without messing up your template if you run up and down. So I try to get close to that hub there on the first one. Hope you're enjoying my high-tech R&D area here. I enjoy it quite often. All right, so there's the first one. And I just try to line it up to where, you know, it's on that, let me see if you can see it here better. It's right against the hub, so it gives me an idea of where to start. Of course, when I put it and move it from blade to blade, I reference off the tip so that I know I'm in the right place. All right, so I've got some more tape here. Let's see what we're gonna do. Overlap it about halfway. Put it on the blade, work it down from one piece of tape to the other. Last piece of tape here. Get that on there. And I've really found this to be very, very useful as far as blade size, blade pattern, and repeatability blade to blade. So then I'll take something sharp. I'll just use the edge of Mama's scissors here and kind of cut it off. It's of course double thickness in places, so you got to work on it a little bit in the thick areas to get it off. But there it is. That's the back trailing edge. And just keep going around. We'll get that trimmed off the leading edge about the same way. Yeah, I hope you're impressed with my R&D area here. I worked really hard to make sure that I've got the right tools in the right place, and make sure I don't start till I know where I'm going. Yeah, don't start anything until you know the end of it, right? That's definitely not my way. What I do is you know, there's people that are good starters and there's people that are good finishers. Usually the finisher won't start a project till he knows all of the details of it and he knows how the end is going to happen because that's what he's focusing on. I'm just the opposite of that. I'm a good starter and I don't always finish up well. I'm an idea guy. I get things going and on a prop, of course, I'll finish it, but that's why some of my props have still got knuckle bumps or whatever. You know, I run it and it runs good and I quit on it. You know, I'm not all about making it the prettiest and best. But anyway, now I've got my little blade pattern, right? I've got that all set up. So let's put it on the pitch gauge and get some measurements here. Drop that on the ground. So I made these little cones, like I say, with my big 3 horsepower mill, and they work real good. I increased the point on it. I made it a lot pointer so it would go down and index better in the prop. I want to start on, let's say, the inside. So I'll move this way in and we'll measure right against the hub, see what it looks like. Make some, see if I can get in any closer than that. One of the things I did on this prop gauge, originally I couldn't get in very far the way Rusty Bonnet had built it. So I took and cut this part out so I could get in closer to the hub and measure there. Initially I wasn't worried much about what it was up in here, but as I progressed in my prop work, I got to considering every part of the blade, and this in here was one of them that I couldn't get to. So as you can see right there, it's already touching the back of that other blade, and you get a 4-blade on there, you can't get anywhere near that. So, and what I'll do is I'll take my Sharpie, come off of there, and I'll mark, okay, I'm working on that radius right there. All right, so let's measure that pitch angle. That pitch angle is 12.8. So let's take and make 12.8. And let's go on up the prop and see. I'll go to the middle of the prop or just below it and measure that. Get it seated real good, make sure everything's right. And that's 13.1. Okay, so let's mark 13.1 right there. And then I'll go right before the cup, which what I do is on mine, you see the thickness of the angle pointer right there? I come down that thickness off the cup, and that's where I know I'm going to measure it every time, is I'll measure the blade right before the cup, and then I'll come up on it. So before the cup, I am 14.2, and on the cup, I am 15.2. So I'm going to write that on there. 14.2 and 15.2. All right, well that's what I'll do in different radiuses on down the prop, and that'll give me my template. And what I can do too is once I get that made, I'll check blade to blade to make sure that all the blades are semi-equal, like I'd said before. Being accurate is good, but it's not absolutely necessary. All right, I got a mark here. I want to measure at this location, something that's repeatable from time to time, where I can look back at different props and say, well, okay, right there, it was this pitch. Again, I'll mark exactly where that radius is, and that is 11.1. So 11.1, which is a little bit closed up. I like for the leading edge in about that area to be about the same pitch as the back edge, just out past halfway, right through the barrel of the prop. I like to see about the same pitch here as here. And this one's a little bit tight, but you know what? That's acceleration. And I'll explain what I mean there in a minute as why I think that's better acceleration. These old Sharpies dry up pretty quick, so I try to keep the lid on it. All right, going on up the prop, just below the middle is where I like to measure, and that's 11.1. So 11.1, get it square, 13, 11.1 and 13, maybe I can remember long enough to write that down. I'm gonna write it down. So 11.1, all right, well that's exactly what the leading edge is. And then 13, and let's measure the cup. See what that is. And on top of the cup, that is 14.1. 14.1. Okay. So it goes from 11.1 to 11.1, which I like. That's really good. Low progression means speed, I think. And then 13. So that's pretty strong for a Yamato wheel, but there again, on these skinny wheels like this, I found I can run more pitch because I can swing it through the turns. All right, let's go out to the next position that I've got marked there. You can see my scale here. It goes in and out. And it's not any specific measurement. It's just kind of where I've decided to put them. And I want to tell you something about a pitch gauge too. It doesn't matter what these numbers are. You could put X, Y, Z, A, P, D. It don't matter what they are. As long as you know what that is. I mean, numbers, progressive numbers are good to have because you can record those and it's easy to understand. You don't need to code it or anything. But what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter if when that gets right there that's perfectly an 11 pitch angle or not. As long as you use the same gauge from a prop that you know works to all your other props, it doesn't matter what it says. I used to run a speedometer in my boat that was a pressure gauge, right? You run the water pickup in and just run a big pressure gauge, and it didn't matter whatever the gauge showed. I could tell if I was going faster or slower, and make a mark. I said, okay, that's where it went to last time. The numbers don't matter. I mean, it does if you're trying to talk to somebody about repeatability, if you're trying to match a DeWalt. And these are kind of similar to what DeWalt uses, but like I say, it really doesn't matter what your scale is. All right, so let's go out again. Measure the leading edge, and this is where I made a lot of the changes. That one's 10 flat. Okay, I like that. 10 in that area has always worked pretty good for me. I like that. Now what do we got? Oh, I love it. 9.9, so very low 9.9, very low progression. In fact, it's a little more open here than it is up on the prop, and that's what I was going for, is trying to make a Papa Smith low progression top end wheel. Let's see how this goes. And this prop will top end pretty good because that's 11.1, because it's a little bit higher pitch, and I can spin it up, like I say, because of the narrow blades. All right. Hope you're enjoying the ambiance here in my R&D department. And that's 12.5 on the cup. 12.5. Okay. Let's move the gauge out another notch. Go to that measurement right there. And again, it doesn't matter where it is as long as you use the same points every time. I go probably a little bit less than a 1/2 inch is what my steps are. Hadn't really measured it, but that's fine. All right, on that one, I'm gonna say 9.3. Let's see, I got off there a little bit. Get on it again. I'm gonna say that's 9.3, right in there somewhere. Oh, thank you, baby. One of the perks of having your R&D department right in front of the TV is there's breakfast right there. You can't beat that. All right. So, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna eat a hot breakfast, or I'm gonna keep measuring props? I can tell you what the answer to that is. Let's see, 9.3. Well, shoot, I'm gonna measure that after a while, but we'll be back. All right, we got refueled here. Put this over on the back burner. Turn Steve Scalise off on Fox. You don't care about one of the biggest crises facing our country. Let's stop that. The president won't even. All right, back to the R&D. You mind, babe?
Not a bit.
Okay. All right, so what we're going to do next is, okay, I've already got that in the next position. So what are we measuring? 9.1. This 0.1 thing seems to be a recurring theme. 9.1. 9.1, and that's a good measurement for that. Normally it's a little bit more closed in that area, which I'm glad it's not. I'm trying to make a truer pitch in through that area. Okay, 9.8. So that's what it is in the middle. A little bit of progression, but not a ton. And then from the cup, 10.1. And on the cup, 11. See, that's pretty darn strong out there that far. 11 pitch, way out on the end of the blade. And I've been able to turn that because there again, it's skinny out there. And that helps a little bit on top end, I think. All right, so let's go all the way out to the tip and just get a single tip measurement from there, where it fits on both front and back of the tip. Measuring cup to leading edge, 9.8. I could actually go a little bit stronger than that, but that's pretty strong for a Yamato. I've seen up to 10 pitch on Yamatos, and especially on the bigger motors. You can run a little bit more pitch, but there again, the bigger motors normally run 1-to-1 instead of 1 or 2 teeth off like the Yamatos do. So, and they spin it faster. So, pitch is pretty relative there. All right, let's call it for a minute here because the R&D department needs to visit the restroom. Okay, after a brief intermission to the another part of the R&D lab. It's a smaller room that has different facilities. It's my liquid research room. It's not very far down the hall there. It's where I have been practicing turning a clear liquid into a yellowish tint protein-filled liquid. In other words, I had to go pee. Okay, so where we were on props were on the pitch gauge was we've measured this blade, right? We know what we've got there. So one of my first things that I'm curious about is, okay, are the other blades like that? All right, if I settle on this is what I want, now you need to compare the other blades, right? So what you do, let's move it out to one of the other locations. We've got those marked. And as you can see, it'll slide in and out there. So let's slide it to a known location on the radius. And let's say that, okay, that leading edge was 9.4 at that spot. Okay, that's what I'm getting. All right, let's go around here. How is that one? Because I have beat on this prop to try to get them all the same, but I haven't measured them yet. So that's what I'll do is when I go out and I change the blade, I'll bring the prop gauge with me and I'll move it from one to the other. But this prop gauge is like I say, a very handy tool. It shows you the prop angle or the angle between this point and this point, but it doesn't give you a three-dimensional measurement of where that angle is in space, whether it's up or down. We talked about that earlier. All right, that one's right on the money. 9.4, and the third is a little bit high. It's 9.9. All right. Well, my choice now is, do I like that 9.9 better than the 9.4? I think I might. So what I'll do is I'll choose to keep this one, and then I'll bump this one down to 9.9 and this one down to 9.9. And how do I mark that? Well, what I like to do is I want to change it here, make a dot there, and I'll make a dot on this one at that same location, which is right there. Okay, that's where I want to change it. All right, I've also got some marks, and I'll show you. I've got some marks on this blade already. I've got some marks here, and I've got some marks here. So I've kind of already done that. I've looked at different things that I want to change. I've got a dot here where I know I want to increase that pitch to 9.8. It's a little bit less here, and it's a little bit less here. I want to bring that up to where that's even. So that's my next process, but this video is all about using the pitch gauge. And of course, how you use this tool is it's got a hole here. You take it off of the shaft, you remove the top cone, and there's your prop. So that's more than you need to know, probably. Maybe not. Maybe you're interested in all that about how to use a pitch gauge, and you could even make one of these. There's nothing to it. It's all mill work, machine work. It's nice to have the slot that fits, and he's got if you see, he's got the slot milled exactly where it'll fit here so that it won't be wonky. He's got it milled just exactly that width, so it'll slide in there correctly. Not a big deal. Then it's got a piece of plate here that, like I say, I've modified. It was a full 90-degree section, and for me to get on 4 blades and to get in close, I've eliminated this area. So I think if I ever built a new one, in fact, I might eliminate a little bit more of that, because I would like to get even closer to the hub than I do. But that's what I wanted to show you about pitch gauges, and we'll go. My idea here is to go from tool to tool to show you different tools about how to work a prop. And this was all about pitch gauges. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back with another episode of the next tool here shortly.
I'm meeting my buddies out on the lake. We're headed out to a special place, sweet love, and just a few folks know. There's no signing up, no monthly dues. Take your Johnson, your Mercury, or your Evan Root and fire it up. Eat us out and party cold. Come on in, the water's fine. Just idle on over and toss us a line. Fast tractors, mail liners, and a party barge strung together like a floating trailer park. Anchored out and getting loud all summer long. Side to side, there's 5 houseboat front porches, astroturf lawn chairs and tiki torches. Regular Joes rocking the boat, that's us, the Redneck Yacht Club. Bermuda's flip-flops and a tank top 10. He popped his first top at 10 a.m. That's Bob. He's our president. We're checking out the girls on the upper deck, rubbing in the 15 SPF.